Today, a January 6th rioter named Andrew Taake, I think that's pronounced correctly, pleaded guilty to assaulting law enforcement officers with chemical spray while holding a metal whip. Now he's facing justice thanks to an anonymous woman with the pseudonym of Claire, who actually got him to admit that he was not only at the riot, but was engaging in the very activity that ended up leading to his prosecution. Now, author Ryan J. Reilly wrote about Claire in his upcoming book, Sedition Hunters. And let's watch him explain her story.
On the night of January 6th, she was at home in her apartment, and a lot of Trump supporters were streaming back from the Capitol to a hotel nearby. And she saw this ask from the FBI saying that they were trying to identify the rioters. So she said, okay, let's get to work, right? So she opened up the Bumble app. Bumble is the dating platform where women make the first move. So she essentially just started matching with guys. She changed her profile to conservative. She took away the photo that she had from the Women's March after Donald Trump's inauguration to make sure that she looked like she was a conservative, and then started talking to people. 3 people she got to admit that they were near the Capitol on January 6th, and she actually got this one individual, Andrew Taake, to admit that he was on the front lines, and she turned that information into the FBI. And then a few months later, she got a call from another from an FBI agent in the Houston area who was working on this case. Ended up that this Andrew individual was someone who had attacked officers. You can see it there in the photo with pepper spray, and he was there shortly after arrested. And so I got to talk to Claire about this, and she was amazed by how willing guys were just to turn over info based on talking to a woman that they just met online.
I mean, first of all, Claire, I mean, sleuthing it away.
Everybody needs a hobby.
Right? No, but it's clever. I would have never thought to do it, but good for Claire, I guess.
Yeah. I do like, so it's easy to fast forward to she caught the 3 guys who were close and this guy was there, but she probably spent months having to have conversations with these sorts of guys. And I don't think we can stress enough how strenuous that is as work. Like, God knows what other things they sent her before they sent this.
Wow, is this the modern day honeypot situation?
Is definitely a honeypot. I mean, effectively,
that is amazing.
Yeah, it's a classic honeypot.
And you're right, I hadn't really considered the emotional work necessary to pretend like you're interested in these guys who clearly you're not only not interested in, but are motivated enough to try to investigate as part of the FBI's calls to provide information about any of the January 6th rioters.
We don't know how many unsolicited small penis pictures she was sent during this quest, and I don't know how you eye bleached that away. I guess justice is the goal, but.
So there were exchanges between Claire and these men shared in Reilly's book. In fact, I want to read a few excerpts to you. Here's an example. Were you near all the action, Claire asked. Yes, Taake replied. From the very beginning, he sent her a selfie he said he took about 30 minutes after being pepper sprayed. Okay, I was pepper sprayed, tear gassed, had flash bangs thrown at me, and hit with batons for peacefully standing there, he claimed. Safe to say, I was the very first person to be sprayed that day, all while just standing there. Liar. Andrew conceded that he was effing fed up with the government when he arrived at the Capitol, but he started telling Claire that the people who did the damage were obviously Antifa.
Love that, that's so good.
Cool.
He was a little bit more intelligent than I thought he would. When he was like, oh yeah, I was there from the very beginning, peacefully. I was there
just standing there.
I was just standing.
But okay, so one other thing I'll just say is, there's 2 things to consider when it comes to, I'm not saying all of the rioters, but some of the rioters. Number 1, they literally had the president of the United States encourage them to do what they did on that day in his speech, number 1. Number 2, I think in their minds, they saw some of the rioting that took place in the summer of 2020, and in their minds felt there wasn't any justice served in regard to the people who caused that damage. And so if they were able to do that, shouldn't we be able to do what we're doing, right? Like, I think that some of them really did have that mentality. And like, I do feel bad for those who thought that they were offered protection from the president, since the president is the one who urged them to do what they did.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't trust anyone, especially politicians.
How do you still trust Trump at that point? I don't know.
I don't know, but a lot of people did, and they suffered the consequences of that. And what's so infuriating about it all is, for the longest time, they were the only ones who suffered the consequences of that. I mean, Trump hadn't been charged or indicted for anything that he engaged in. Luckily, since then, he has been. And so we're waiting to see how the Georgia election interference case plays out and how the federal case plays out. But I'm curious because we never hear from the people who are frustrated about that or were frustrated about that. And I want to hear from them.
Oh my God.
What?
Oh, I just had the best idea. This woman was able to catch dumb guys by getting them to admit to this. Trump is the dumbest guy. All we need to do is have someone message Trump. Remember, he used to send all those messages about like Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson or whatever. He was obsessed. Kristen Stewart, please DM Trump. You can save the republic. Get him to admit that he did it. Come on.
Oh my God, that would take a lot of acting.
Yeah. No, he's stupid and he wants to believe that all these women think he's attractive. It would be really easy, actually.
All right, if anyone wants to take John's advice and try that out, maybe Claire will, because as Claire says, I felt a bit of civic duty, I guess, but truthfully, I was mostly just mad and thinking, F these guys. So
I like it.
Yeah, so that's how it played out. And finally, Taake was later taken into custody and kept there until his trial because his criminal history went back further than January 6th. So it wasn't the first time he engaged in illegal activity. Taake's willingness to physically assault officers with bear spray and a metal whip while on bond and conditions of release for the felony offense of solicitation of a minor.
What?
Demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that he poses a concrete threat both to the community and to specific individuals, a federal magistrate judge wrote, bolding for emphasis when ordering Taake detained until trial. Wow.
Sorry, his willingness to stand while close by Antifa attacked cops with bear spray and a metal whip.
Of course.
Because he was innocent.
So how could I get that wrong?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.